everyone, welcome to a new episode of Moxham Trails. As you can see, I'm clearly not at the property right now, but I did make one more visit since the last episode. Rick and I went up in the late fall to winterize the shed and to take some measurements so I can do some planning over the winter. We also brought up some lumber that I found in the cull bin at Home Depot. I check it every time I'm in the store, and if there's anything pressure treated that doesn't look too beat up for the mountain bike trails, I buy it, and it's all 70% off. So I got some 4x4s and some decking boards that are a little bit warped, but still perfectly usable for my intentions. Let's get the wood out. Now, on the inside, I already have an idea of what I want the place to look like, and I've even picked out some furniture I want to buy. But I need to make sure everything will fit in an orientation that's functional. That means measuring everything now so I can make a digital floor plan at home and move things around to see how they fit together best. You had the idea, and I like it, which is to not necessarily have the kitchen stuff flush against this, but to maybe build that wall back a little bit. That way if I hang a cabinet, it doesn't pop out and like make it harder to get out of the loft.
Yeah.
So the workbench pops out the same distance as this stud. So I've got from this stud to the loft as additional space.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm willing to use that and commit to the workshop ending here rather than at the end of the loft. I've measured the couch a few times.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
84, 85?
84.
Yeah.
84. I'd rather round up. Yeah, the couch is 84.
Couch.
Right now, surface area is actually at a premium. But
Until you add shelves, yeah.
Exactly. If I add that countertop here and I have that island here, then I've got that space. There's a lot of furniture up here like this end table that wasn't something I bought for this place, but it was available. This used to be in our living room and we didn't need it anymore. We replaced it. But if it doesn't fit into the floor plan that I want, I'm willing to get rid of it. Like the entryway table was a last minute thing. I was like, oh yeah, I have this. I should bring it up. But if it doesn't have a good place to go, then I'm willing to scrap it. This end table, I was actually thinking if we cut the legs down and make it like 4 inches shorter, it can actually go in the loft and be like a little mini end table for the loft. Like a nightstand up there. Right now, I want to get as many numbers as possible.
Yeah, you're just counting.
And some of these numbers I should have in the shed floor plan that I got.
They gave you, it's the outside dimension, but the inside dimension is 4 inches less on each wall.
Exactly.
So it's 8 inches less to work with than the inside.
So I also want to know things like exactly how far is it from the inside of the stud to the window.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm including the studs that frame the window. It's 67 inches. And then the width of the window with the frame is
27.
Let's call it 27 and a half. I'd rather round that up.
5.
And then from there to the edge of the loft.
Oh, yeah. 36 and a half?
Yeah.
That's in between that and the loft.
Yep.
And then it was 15 from there to the workbench.
Yep. The workbench is butted up against the other wall.
Do you want to measure to? Yeah, I was going to say you should measure to the
75.
75 for those things. Okay.
Edge of the workbench to the opposite wall. is.
93.
Yeah, 93. It's definitely 8 inches to the door. Nice.
67.5. Yeah.
The space between the doors. I was going to say there's exactly 2 studs on this side, and there's exactly 2 studs on this side. And this thing is 24 inches.
Yeah.
So it's 2 studs is 3 inches. So it's 24 plus, it's 30 inches.
Okay. All right.
37.5. And then between the door and the window is 47. The width of the window is. Did we measure the width of the other window? Or did we
27.5.
Yep, that's what this one is too. And then from there, 11 inches to the corner.
Okay.
This one? Yep. 6'8", 80 inches. And then we've got 19 inches to the corner.
There you go.
Cool. That is the entire perimeter.
When I got back home, I used a combination of the blueprint from the shed manufacturer and the measurements Rick and I took to make a scale floor plan and start playing with different layouts. I quickly realized that my original plan wasn't the best option, and I think I have a better idea of what I need to do now. First, we'll get rid of the entryway table and this short bookcase. Then we'll move this end table up to the loft where we can use it as a nightstand. Then we'll add a wall between the workshop and the living space. This includes a doorway between the 2 spaces. Next, we'll move the hearth into this corner. I think this is the best place for the stove because it's the farthest from any of the windows, and the chimney will be coming out the back of the shed where it's a little more discreet. And I mentioned that I have some new furniture in mind. Well, I bought this island on wheels with an extension that pulls out for more surface area. That will go here, right next to the door. Then I bought a wall cabinet to go above it. Next, I want to install a short piece of countertop with a sink in it. This will be a manual pump sink with room underneath for a jug of fresh water to be connected to the faucet and an empty jug to be connected to the drain to collect the wastewater. Kind of like this. Then I bought a tall cabinet with a combination of drawers, pull-out shelves, and adjustable shelves. This will be our primary storage, and it will go against the wall between the couch and the sink right here. I like this setup for a few different reasons. Besides the placement of the stove, which I already explained, having the couch here allows me to see down the driveway through this window and out the front through this one, which you can also see out when you're using the sink or the kitchen area. Having the island next to the door means there's a place to just dump stuff as you walk through the door, and since it's extendable, you can turn it sideways and extend it when you need extra counter space. We also measured the footprint of the ladder, so I can move that around to make sure there are some locations where we can use it to get into the lofts. I think I may have to put the coffee table on wheels so we can push it out of the way sometimes. Back at the property, there's more winterizing to do.
So I bought some of these moisture absorbers. People use these in their boats or sometimes in a garage or relatively small spaces that sometimes have a buildup of moisture. So I have a few of these. I think I'm going to spread them around. It's going into winter and the air is usually pretty dry during this time of year, but I usually don't get up here until June, which means April and May and early spring can be kind of moist and wet. So I want to prepare for capturing next spring's moisture now before the winter. Rick made a good point. He said that these will probably start to work now in the fall, which means that they could have quite a bit of water in them before they freeze over the winter. So instead of just spreading these out and putting them on the surfaces that we have now, we're going to put them inside buckets so that if they do crack and leak, they won't go far. So I think we just pull this off, open this up. Oh, nice. This one has like a filter sock on top. And then there. Put that one there. I'll do one more. This one I'm going to put up in the loft, I think, because that's really where I'm worried about moisture the most. this one up in the loft.
There, nice.
I'm just gonna leave it right on the edge like that.
Yep.
I did try a smaller version of the moisture absorbers. This is a much smaller volume, but same chemical process. Back when Rick and I were up here to organize things, right before the Barn Cats weekend, we opened one of these up and I hung it from my workbench, and it's already completely spent, but it did the job. I mean, it pulled moisture out of the air, but if we left these hanging all winter, they would freeze and they'd surely pop and then melt again in the spring and make a mess everywhere. So I think the bigger ones in the buckets are definitely the way to go.
We also took a quick trip over to Rick's camp. I helped him blow some leaves, and then he mentioned to me that he had a few pieces of old boat dock that we might be able to use on the mountain bike trails. So we grabbed this piece and brought it back, but there's at least 1 or 2 similar pieces that we can grab next spring.
Actually, we should keep it lower. Put one of the sides on it.
Part of getting the camp ready for winter is dumping out all the excess water I didn't use. Typically, I bring up one of these containers full of fresh water every time I visit. Most visits I don't even use it, so I end up leaving it there, and over the course of the season I build up a few bottles. If I leave them as is, they would likely freeze and crack, and then make a mess when they melt in the spring. I'll bring these home, wash them, and save them for next year. I suspect we'll be using more water next year once we install that kitchen sink. And then finally, Rick and I had a beer and brainstormed a few of the things on my to-do list for next year.
First of all, man, cheers.
Cheers.
Close of a good season.
Absolutely.
Last beer of Moxham for the year.
That's tasty.
All that's got to go.
Yeah.
I
You're not
really
gonna want that stuff to grow big right over your shed. It's gonna hem you in from airflow and sunlight and
Right.
You know.
I tried to enter this whole thing with the philosophy that I was only going to remove what I absolutely had to remove. And it's kind of bit me in the ass in a lot of ways, because there are places where, like, oh, I wish I had taken that down when I had the chance, because now it's twice as big and it's in the way. Also, that little group of pine trees right there are really the only thing between the shed and the outdoor shower.
Yeah.
So there could actually be like another pathway up. It could be like a triangle that goes from the shed to the shower to the axe throwing and the bonfire pit and then back down. I was also thinking, like, it would be nice to have fruiting trees, like an apple tree or a pear tree or something that's, you know, can survive in this climate, but it might be nice to be able to pick some produce while I'm up here. I mean, we've got all the wild berries. But then I was also thinking that's just going to invite bears. On my street, there are a couple of black walnut trees.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, that would be cool if I had some walnut trees up here and I could harvest them. But I don't like walnuts that much. Allison doesn't like walnuts that much. Ethan won't touch them. So, but Ethan loves Nutella. And so does Allison.
Yeah.
Hazelnuts.
Yeah.
I could put a couple of hazelnut trees up here. So I've been thinking about it.
Are those like a native?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if they were. Nut and fruit trees, like you said, especially nuts might bring in rodents, and fruit trees might bring in anything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's you have to decide what's your priority, or you have them not. You've got enough property. You could have a grove of. A couple,
yeah.
You
They
can have
could
a
be
couple
further
of them
away. They don't have to
way
be
up
in
at
the
the
clearing.
top part of B&B, where there's like a little bit of a clearing already, which means they'll get good sunlight and stuff, so they can grow good. But then, if there's bear or anything to decide to eat on them, they're not right here. When you're here, they're not going to be right next to you.
That's a good point. I would love to build a pavilion right here. Something fairly large, like maybe 20 foot by 30 foot. Like just this whole area, basically. You don't even have to level the ground. You don't have to pour like a concrete pad. Just have a bunch of 6x6 pillars and then a roof on the top just to keep you dry when you're under it, and then maybe some like screens to put up during black fly season so that you can come out here, you can sit at the picnic table, you might set up the grill, but you're not in a tent, you're still outside.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I've been thinking about that. Another thing I'm strongly thinking about doing, mainly based on our experiences during the Barn Cats weekend, is just paying the money and have them deliver like 5 tons of topsoil or 5, maybe gravel, just material. I want to have some material that I can just like a dipping pile.
They'd back it up and dump it probably right behind my truck where the truck is now.
But I don't know what I want. I definitely don't want sand. Topsoil would be nice, but I think it'd be really expensive.
I'm sure you can, but that's going to be a little bit of a premium.
But the gravel that they used for the foundation, like this stuff, like, I mean, think about what we use it for. We're out in the woods. There's a rock that's in the trail. We pull it out, and now there's a 2 foot by 2 foot hole.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be full of dirt. It could easily be full of this gravel.
Right.
And it would be fine, because this gravel is fine to ride over.
Yeah.
So I almost want another truckload of this gravel just to dip into. I have a feeling that once I start cutting, I'm just gonna
Butcher it all.
Yeah.
You probably should. It's like
Mhm.
you said, a new trail would be. It's right there. It's like closer than I think. I
Yeah.
just remember it was kind of a long walk going by the fire.
It is when you go up the hill to the fire pit and then across and then back.
Like I said,
But yeah, it's the shower's right through there. I can see it. That's a good point because I did not think about that. Is that clearing this out actually opens up
at least
potential
that
parking space.
One nice slot for the Maverick or whatever.
Yeah, because if you don't mind being blocked in, you could pull one car in flush with the shed, put another car in behind it. Joe and Cam were parked side by side right here.
We were 3 wide.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
there could be a lot of room for parking if we needed to. Well, that about does it for another year at Moxham. Last year I said was going to be the year of change, but I really think this year was the year that a lot of the changes were felt. Obviously getting the shed was a big deal, and I think that's really going to play into next year when we have a lot more overnights. But also that Barn Cats weekend really changed my mindset when it comes to trail building and seeing how much could be accomplished with a group of guys in just 48 hours. So I'm really looking forward to next year, bringing up more people, getting to work on the trails, and just having an overall good time. So happy winter, everybody, and I'll see you next year on Moxham Trails. Thanks for watching.